morning, all. Today, we will discuss some examples related to work energy theorem. First of all, we going to in details of some of the concept when applying work energy theorem. We know that work energy theorem is a mathematical consequence of Newton's second law. Why we stating this way? Do you know? That is because we obtain the work energy theorem using the Newton's second law. By doing some mathematical manipulations on the Newton's law, we have got the work energy theorem. It is explained in detail in the first topic of the chapter, work energy. Have you remembered? We integrated the second law of motion by using the method of separation of variable, and then we obtain the work energy theorem. The work energy theorem is merely a statement that the change in kinetic energy is equal to the net work done, isn't it? The expression was 1 by 2 mvb square minus 1 by 2 mva square. In that, 1 by 2 m into vb square is the kinetic energy at the point B, and the second term 1 by 2 m into va square, that was the kinetic energy in the point A. So the LHS gives the change in kinetic energy, and the RHS is integral f dot dr, that is the work done. This statement should not be confused with the general law of conservation of energy. To apply the work energy theorem, we have to evaluate the line integral, that is WBA is equal to integral f dot dr. It is the expression when we considering the work energy theorem in several dimensions. In that case, the term F dot dr, F dot dr. Okay. In other cases, we only write F dx or F dy, anything like this, or F dr, F into dr in one dimensional case. Only in three dimensional case and in several dimension, we use F dot dr, the dot product of force with the line element. In most general case, the work integral depends on the path followed, and since we don't know the path without completely solving the problem, then the work energy theorem is useless. The statement says that the integral F dot dr represents we have to obtain the work done when moving a particle from one point to another throughout the path. But in some cases, we don't know the path without completely solving the problem. In that cases, the work energy theorem is useless. But in physics, there are two special cases of considerable practical importance. In that first one is the case of conservative forces. Then what is conservative forces? In some cases, we know that the work integral does not depend on the particular path, but only endpoints. Such forces are conservative forces. Or we can say that in such cases, the work integral does not depend on particular path, but only on the endpoints. Such forces are called conservative forces. In the case of conservative force, the work energy theorem can put in a very simple form. The point is very important. That is the conservative force. Then what is conservative force? We can define conservative force as a force is conservative if the work done by it moving a particle from one point to another is path independent. I repeat, a force is conservative if the work done by it in moving a particle from one point to another is path independent. Or we can say in another words, if the work done is path independent, the force must be conservative. If the work done is path independent, the force must be conservative. And in the another cases, The work done theorem is also useful in the cases where the path is known because the motion is constrained. What do you mean by constraint? A limitation of the motion. For example, the length of simple pendulum is fixed, so the pendulum can move in a particular path. The length is constant. And another constraint motions are also discussed in our topics. So by constraint motion, we mean the motion in which external constraint act to keep the particle on a predetermined trajectory. In the case of constraint motion, the external constraints act to keep the particle on a predetermined trajectory. So the path is known. For constraint motion, the constraining force does no work. That is important. For constraint motion, the constraining force does no work. Then, in the expression of work energy theorem, the left-hand side must be 0. How is it possible? This is because the effect of constraint force is assure that the direction of the velocity is always tangential to the predetermined path. Just consider a constraint motion of a circular motion. We take a string and a stone. A stone is tied at one end of the string and we whirling the stone in a circular path. Then the direction of the velocity at any instant must be tangential to that circle. Hence, the constraint force change only the direction of V. We know that when the angular velocity, in the case of circular motion, if the angular velocity must be constant, but the linear velocity not constant. Because the direction of the velocity changing instantaneously. Thus, the constraint force Fc is normal to the velocity. On the other hand, the displacement delta R is parallel to V. The displacement delta R is parallel to V. Consequently, F dot delta R is equal to 0 and the constraint force does no work. So this is the two cases where the work energy theorem makes a simple form. First is in the case of conservative forces, and the second is the case of constraint forces. Here we discuss that case, one of the case, that is the case of constraint force. Here we discuss the example of conical pendulum. The figure of the conical pendulum is shown. A mass M is fixed to end of a rod of length L and negligible mass that is pivoted to sink from the end of a hub that rotate at a constant angular velocity omega. The hub is rotating with a constant angular velocity omega as shown in the drawing. Since the mass moves with constant angular velocity omega in a circle of constant radius, the kinetic energy of the mass is half m r omega squared. It is obtained in the previous cases. Or we can also obtain from the fundamental equations that what is the expression of kinetic energy? The expression of kinetic energy is equal to one by two. Kinetic energy is equal to 1 by 2 mv square. Here v is the linear velocity. In the case of angular case, we have to write it in the terms of rotational parameters. Okay. Ke in the case of rotational case, it is equal to 1 by 2 I omega squared. 1 by 2 I omega squared. Here in this case, I is equal to, I must be equal to what? If the radius is r, here the mass is m, then it is equal to m it must be equal to mr squared. Omega 1 by 2 m into r square into omega square. Here there is a typing mistake. There is a r square. 1 by 2 m r square omega square. It can also be obtained substituting the relations. V is equal to r omega. Then kinetic energy rotation must be equal to 1 by 2 m into r omega whole square. Okay. Then here m is a constant, r is a constant, and omega is a constant. Then the kinetic energy remains constant. Then when we look at the LHS of work energy theorem, it is a change in kinetic energy. Change in kinetic energy must be equal to 0. The work energy theorem then tells us that no net work is being done on the mass. Here, we will discuss how the work done is 0. Look at the diagram. Here, the string force, that is a tension, and the weight. Tension acting on this direction, okay, and weight acting downward, okay. Both are mutually perpendicular to the direction of dr. Each of these force is perpendicular. The T is perpendicular to dr and W also perpendicular to dr. Then F dot dr in both case, T dot dr is equal to 0 and W dot dr also is equal to 0. Then the work integral is 0. Consequently, the total work on M is 0 and the kinetic energy is constant. So here we prove the kinetic energy is constant here, okay, using the work energy theorem. We also know that in this case, from the expression, the kinetic energy remains constant. Here, using work energy theorem, we verify it. Here it is important to realize that in the integral f dot dr, the vector dr is along the path of the particle. Now we discuss going to another topic. From this expression, before going that, mathematically we can obtain the direction of dr is parallel to v, because v is equal to dr divided by dt. So dr is equal to v into dt, where dt is the change in time. It is a scalar quantity. Then dr in the direction along v. Dr is always parallel to v. Now we discuss the topic inverted pendulum. In the figure, a pendulum consists of a light rigid rod of length pivoted at one end with mass m attached to other end. Initially, the pendulum is Initially, the pendulum was at the point that is showing by dotted lines. At that point, it is at rest and it is released. Then, after some time, it reached at an angle phi. We have to obtain what is the velocity of the mass m when the rod is at an angle phi. Here, the pendulum is released from rest at an angle phi 0 as shown. What is the velocity of m when the rod is at an angle phi? We have to use here the work energy theorem. Then using the work energy theorem, we have to write we know that using the work energy theorem, the change in kinetic energy is equal to the work done, equal to the work done. So for the, in that case, here what is the initial position? Phi 0. Okay. And the final position is at phi. Then the kinetic energy at the final position can be written as 1 by 2 m v phi square minus 1 by 2 m into v phi 0 squared. V phi 0 is the initial kinetic energy. That is equal to what? That is equal to the work done moving the pendulum from phi 0 to phi. And here we say that the pendulum is released from rest at an angle phi 0. So at phi 0, I write here at phi 0 velocity v phi 0 is equal to v phi 0 is equal to 0. As it is rest, v phi 0 is equal to 0. Okay. Then from this quantity, we can obtain what is the value of v phi. To obtain the value of v phi, we write v phi square is equal to what? V phi square is equal to 2 w phi phi 0 divided by m, or v phi is equal to what? V phi is equal to root of this quantity, that is root of 2 into w phi phi 0 divided by m. Here we have to, our aim is to find the velocity v phi. We obtain the expression v phi is equal to root of 2 into w phi phi 0 divided by m. Here w phi phi 0 is the work done. Then we have to evaluate w phi phi 0. To evaluate the work done, we have to analyze what are the forces acting on the mass. Here, we neglect only the air resistance. So there is two forces acting the first one is the gravity, and second one is the tension. And the force of gravity is acting downward, isn't it? Look at the figure. Mg is acting downward, and the tension on the rod, that is denoted by En, it always along the rod. From the figure, we see that dr lies along the circle of radius L. What is dr? Dr is the trajectory path. Okay, then this dotted lines represents dr. It is a trajectory. Okay, and here from the figure, here we draw a tangent to the trajectory at this point. Then that tangent and the direction of gravity makes an angle that must be equal to phi minus pi by 2. Okay. And since the force or the tension force on the string, that is a tension, it acts along the radius. Okay, so it is perpendicular to the direction of dr, then n dot dr must be equal to 0. We have discussed such quantities, such significance when we discussing about conical pendulum, and when the topic discussed applying work energy theorem. So n and dr mutually perpendicular, then n dot dr is equal to 0. Then we have to find the work done by the gravity. We can write F dot dr. Here the F is mg dot dr is equal to when we taking a dot product A dot B. How can we write it? It is equal to modulus A into modulus B into cos theta, where theta is the angle between A and B. So in the similar way, we write M into G into modulus of dr cos of angle between them is phi minus pi by 2. And now we substitute dr is equal to L into d phi. It is from the concept that we know that angle is equal to arc by radius. dr is the arc divided by L, that must be the small angle d phi. For any small angle d phi, dr must be equal to L d phi. Then we substitute here mg L cos of phi minus pi by 2 into d phi. What is cos of phi minus pi by 2? It must be equal to sine phi. So it is mg L into sine phi d phi. Then to obtain the work done, we have to obtain the work done, that is equal to integral of this quantity from phi 0 to phi 0 to phi mg L sine phi d phi. Here the quantities mgl is constant, we can take it outside. Then integral sine phi d phi, integral of sine phi must be equal to minus cos phi in the limit phi 0 to phi. Okay, then it is when we apply the limit, upper limit phi, lower limit phi 0, then when we applying the upper limit minus cos phi, then lower limit gives plus cos phi 0. Then I write cos phi 0 minus cos phi. So it is mgl cos phi 0 minus cos phi. It is a value of, so here we obtain mgl into cos phi 0 minus cos phi. This is the work done, work 5250. Okay. Then we obtain the work done. Now we substitute the value of work done for the expression of velocity. We have expressed v phi is equal to what? V phi is equal to root of, we have written it is equal to W 550 divided by M. Then, so we obtain we cancelling the value of M and taking root, then the value is root of 2GL into cos 50 minus cos phi. This is the expression for speed. Then what will be the maximum velocity obtained? The maximum velocity can be obtained by taking the pendulum fall from the top to the bottom. If it is fall from this point to the bottom side, then phi 0 must be equal to 0 and phi is equal to pi. Then we obtain V phi max must be equal to root of 2GL into cos 0. Cos 0 is equal to cos 0 is equal to 1 and cos 0 minus cos pi. The value of cos 0 is equal to 1 and cos pi is equal to minus 1. Then in the brackets 2GL into 1 minus minus 1, that is 2. Then it is equal to root of 4GL, or that is equal to 2 into root of GL. This V phi max is equal to root 2 into root of GL. This is the same speed attained by a mass falling through the same vertical distance 2L. So I stop here. We will discuss the potential energy in the next session. Thank you.